Dan, thanks for taking some time here. Give the audience an idea of what exactly are we dealing with right now.
Well, I think anybody who's followed college athletics, and particularly college basketball, knows that there's, an underground economy basically on steering these players first to a school, particularly the one-and-done guys, which is kind of the problem with the one-and-done rule. You steer them to a school. It's just kind of a circle. You want an assistant coach to get the assistant coach wants the player at their school. A shoe company wants the player at a certain school. And then agents and financial planners want to get those players when they turn pro, including the shoe company. And so what we have here is it appears a pretty well-known or somebody pretty influential as a financial planner was caught up in securities fraud last year, and he seemed to flip and to get out of his trouble. And he brought in an FBI agent, undercover FBI agent, who sat in on these meetings and acted as part of his group. And they paid out money to at least 4 different schools, and basically they have an agency, a financial planner donating. I mean, we're talking tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars here to prospects' families, to the assistant coaches at those 4 schools, and involvement from Adidas handing out money to assistant coaches. Also, a player would go to a school and then play for a year and a half, whatever it would be, and then sign with Adidas and this financial planner and this agent. And then they would get their money as they became pro NBA players. There's an enormous amount of money, obviously, these kids make, and they do not have any idea which financial planner to pick. So you have a widespread case. He's got there are payouts of $13,000, $100,000 to families in here. There's a lot of details that aren't specific, and I don't want to incriminate anyone. And it's a brand new indictment. I haven't read through it all perfectly, so I'm a little bland here on this. But if you put the dots together, this is going to involve major programs as well that aren't indicted, Hall of Fame coaches. Once these guys start flipping, which they inevitably do when dealing with federal heat, this is just one agency. I mean, this is an absolute bomb. I think Seth Davis had it right on college basketball, because everything we know happened is now going to come out in ways that no investigative report or NCAA investigation ever could.
There's supposed to be a news conference coming up later today at noon Eastern. The charges filed in New York. 4 college basketball coaches among those facing federal charges here. Auburn University, Oklahoma State, University of Arizona, USC are 4 schools that we're told are involved in this. Anybody else involved in this that you know, Dan?
Those are the names, but I'll give you an example here, and I'll just read from the indictment. This doesn't even really involve any of those schools. It involves a financial planner, Munish Sood, and an agent, Christian Dawkins, and an Adidas exec, Jim Gatto. And this is just to quote it. And you can this is the the way federal indictments are written. But they conspired to illicitly funnel approximately $100,000 from Company One, which we assume to be Adidas, for the family of player 10. That means this is the 10th player they're mentioning in here. An All-American high school basketball player to assist one or more coaches at University 6, a school sponsored by Company One. They're not even talking about any of those 4 schools we've already discussed. And to further ensure that player 6 ultimately retained the servants of Dawkins and Sood, signed with Company One upon entering the NBA. The bribe money was structured in a manner so to conceal it from the NCAA and officials at University 6 by, among other things, having Company One wire money to third-party consultants, probably a travel basketball coach, who then facilitated cash payments to player 10's family. You know, there's a bunch of those in here.
Any coaches, any head coaches, Dan, that are mentioned?
There will be. Yeah. I can name you the head coach. I'm not going to because his name's not in here yet, but there's going to be a tremendous fallout. If you follow college basketball, these dots are not hard to put together. This has got wide-reaching things, and I apologize for being. No,
it's okay. I understand. You got to be vague.
Cautious, but you got to be cautious on this. And I mean, these are serious allegations, but it's stuff like that. So you have wiretaps. You have a undercover agent in on the deal. You have the financial data footprint on $100,000 payouts to high school basketball coaches, high school basketball players' families, and all of that involvement. The tentacles of this will go far, far beyond these 4 schools. That's what I'm saying. This is because they're in on everything. So what comes out will be much more than this, which is already pretty amazing. I mean, I don't know if we've ever had an I don't know if we ever had an on the record or a federal indictment that shows $100,000 going to one player. But you're going to see a bunch of those come out of this type of thing.
All right. I know you're busy, Dan. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Dan.
That's Dan Wetzel.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.